What is up, y'all? Not here to waste your time, but this is going to be a long one. Now, you can already see how long this video is. I'm not sure, but I know it's going to be a long one because not only am I going to give you this build, but I'm going to give you all of my SIGs, my jumper, and everything like that. Now, you guys have already seen my jumper. It's in the jump shot video, and I use the same one across all of my builds with the T-Mac base, but we're still going to go into it specifically with this build and just show you guys everything. I'm not the best dribbler or anything like that, but I've got some SIGs that, work well for me, escape moves, whatever. I'm going to show you all of them. You guys can go over them, and see if they work well for you. But again, I'm not the greatest dribbler or anything like that by any means. I'm not a dribble god or any of that. So take it as you want, try them out if you want, but for me, they work and I enjoy them. Other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and say all the things you guys don't care to hear, but I have to say them. So a like, a comment, a sub, anything, nothing if you don't want to, but if this video helps you at all in any way, I would greatly appreciate it. And it helps us, it helps the channel grow. Now, right now we are at 2.16K followers or subs on YouTube, and once we hit the 3K, I will start streaming on Twitch again, and I will be running with subs. I just want to wait till we get the subs up, that way I can just really focus on YouTube and really get the most return on investment before I hop over to stream, and then that starts taking away a little bit more of my time and bandwidth, so once we hit that 3K mark is when I'm really going to start committing to stream again. How often, I'm not sure, but it's been really fun creating these videos for you guys, talking to you guys on Twitter and everything like that. That to say, all of our socials are linked below: Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever you refer to it as. Obviously, the Discord is in there as well. And if you are going to run with us, or when we do run with subs, when we start streaming, Discord is going to be where you're going to have to join in order to run, because I just got to have you guys on mic and I want to be able to talk. I don't want, bad mic quality or anything like that. And I just can't talk in game chat just because I actually am set up on my PC and then I stream and record all my videos because my Xbox is connected to a thing that's connected to the PC and my mic is connected to the PC, but not the Xbox and all of this stuff. So join on the Discord if you guys want to run, because we're going to be doing that soon. Other than that, we are going to get right into it. And this is my personal build that I run every day, more for myself. All the other builds that I make or do videos on, I also run those, and I also really like those. They're not just made just for the channel or just to say, hey, here's a new build. They're made because I actually do run them and I actually do use them. But my personal that I use all the time, or that's my preferred, so to speak, just because it fits my playstyle and I enjoy it, I have the most fun on it, for me, is this one. So this is my personal build that I'm going to show you guys, and I hope you like it. Okay, so getting right to it, we just again have another 3-level threat. Now that is one thing also that I've just been trying to do, make a rare build name. I've tried 6-7 point guards with 99 steal. I've tried so many different things, 6-9s with all these just weird stuff, and I just always get 3-level threat or a 2-way 3-level threat, or I get like an inside the arc maestro or inside the arc finisher. I can those are just the builds that I always get. I try to make the build, the best fit for me, which is what we say, the meta and what works best is definitely what's going to be what works best for you. So that's how you should make your builds. But I've just been trying to have some fun and mess around, maybe get a unique, cool name, and I just haven't been able to do it. So here we are again with another 3-level threat, my personal. And I actually, on the last game I played on this, just before I started shooting this video, hit the second most points I think I've made in a red game or whatever. It was 43 points. I'm sure I'm showing you the picture now. I've got it down here. But I had 43 points. We had 5 steals, which is big, because I want to talk to you guys about 85 steal and how that I think it's enough. And in this game specifically, we had 5 steals. So we'll get into that when we get into the build, but I had 43 points. I had 5 steals. I was 20 for 24. And they were meter dunks. I don't think I hit a midi, maybe a layup or two. And I was 1 for 1 from 3. Now I am just not a high volume 3 shooter anyways. Usually 4 threes in a game is a lot for me. But what's awesome about this build, or a build that can effectively finish consistently at the rim, is it makes me more open for the 3 because I'm such a threat at the rim, and I shoot confidently still, and I'm totally confident in my 3 ball. But when I'm attacking the rim so efficiently, it makes them collapse more, so I can get a good dex, or I just end up open more because they're playing off of me, and I shoot confidently still. So I actually end up shooting more 3s typically. Obviously not in this game, but I end up shooting more 3s typically. I had a game recently where I was like 6 for 6 or 6 for 7, or I took, mainly the point being I took 6 to 7 threes, which I usually never do. But on this build, I actually get to shoot 3s a lot more because I'm such a threat at the rim. So we're gonna go into detail about that and talk about that and kind of how to game it, or game the game, and your opponent. But other than that, 3-level threat, let's get right into it. Okay, so off the rip, you guys know I love 6'6" point guards. Pretty much all of my builds that I run for me personally are 6'6", other than my 6'9" shooting guard, which is one of my favorite builds, or my 6'8" point center. Those are pretty much my top 3 builds. This point guard at 6'6", or my shooting guard at 6'9". 6'9s are really, really fun. And my 6'8" point center, which is really fun as well. And I just get to, you get a good mismatch on it. So those are my 3 main builds, but typically any build I do make, or if I want to try a new version of a build, it's a 6'6". So we've got a point guard, 6'6", 180 pounds with a 7'2" wingspan. I'm pretty sure you can put the weight on this thing up to like 215-ish and not have any difference in terms of your attributes and your points and how the build turns out overall. The only thing that changes is the aesthetic, I guess, of the build or the body type. I actually made mine at 215-ish, I believe it was, just because I like the build, you know, look that way a little bit more. But for you guys, we're just gonna put it at 180 and we're gonna get into it. Okay, so this is the build. Now, first of all, I have way too many clips for this build. I have over 150 clips that I need to go through. I'm not going to use all of them, but I have over 150 or 155 clips over that just to go through to use in here as I'm talking to you guys about this. So we're going to get into it, but this is the build. As you see, we got the 94 driving dunk paired with the 82 vertical, of course, because that is the meta. We've got the 85 speed, which is great. 85 steal, which is going to be a good thing to talk about, and 85 steal is enough, and I'm going to prove that to you guys and show that to you, but we'll get into that when we get there. 88 midi with the 78 3 ball, specifically going to the 88 so that I can get the T-Mac base, because that is my preferred base and I'm the most consistent with it. So I went 88 because at 6'6" and heights and things, you've got to have a high enough midi or a high enough 3 ball in order to unlock certain bases. So I'm going to the 88 specifically to get that T-Mac jumper. Now, if I went down to 86, I'm still keeping the gold midi magician, which at the very least is what I would want to have. If you go to 84 is when you get it. So if you want to adjust the build and you don't need the T-Mac base and you like Ben Shepherd, which doesn't take much to get or something like that, right off the rip you can drop this if you want, but I like the 88 and Green Machine, and the badges you're getting in it. What are we getting? So we're getting Comeback Kid Hall of Fame. Kind of an underrated badge. I actually like that badge. And we're getting Green Machine and Space Creator gold. And we obviously have the Open Looks gold as well, which is a great badge. So that's where we're going with MIDI. But again, we're going to start from the top to the bottom. I just like to give you guys a quick few pointers on the build right off the rip to try and keep you here. So starting from the top, 58 close shot. Now, close shot, we don't invest into. We don't really care. It's just there by default. So we're going to move on from that. Driving layup is at 74. Now, again, that is also just there because driving dunk is at 94. So that's there by default. But something I've talked about in some previous videos, and I want to make a video specifically on it. I just don't know if I'm going to or not, but the default small layup package is great. Now, I do have some clips in here because I specifically got them because I might want to make a video on it specifically, or at least I want to be able to talk to you guys about it, but they have great floater animations. They have a couple animations in the default small that yank you, you know, like how the LeBron and how the DeMar DeRozan do. Are they that glitchy and do they yank you that much? No, but there are a couple in this default small layup package that do yank you, and overall it just has good animations, and it's a basketball game, right? So like you can do a layup, and maybe it's not your preferred, maybe it's not obviously on this build what we're going for all the time, but when you're crashing the rim and getting so many driving dunks, right? You can now, they're gonna crash, right? So what happens is I'll be running the 94 driving dunk, obviously, getting some meters. And the good thing about meters, and we'll talk about this when we get to driving dunk, but just for a quick second, the good thing about meters is they're very, very flashy. If you start the game with a meter immediately, your defender is probably going to start stepping off you right off the rip. Like, it doesn't take much. As soon as they see 1 meter, people tend to start to respect it or to overcompensate for it. So that to say, when you're effectively attacking the rim with these dunks, it's not my go-to, but default small has some good floaters. I like them at least, and I love floaters in the game. I typically run Jimmy Butler, LeBron, or now D Book, which are amazing floaters, but I've always loved floaters in this game. Like DeMar DeRozan's, for instance, I hate them. Like my 6'9" shooting guard that has DeMar DeRozan layup package, I can't do floaters on it. I just cannot hit those floaters on that build with that package. I just can't. But on the default small, I can actually hit floaters on it, and I like the animations and the timing. So that to say, when people are crashing so much on me, I'm actually able to go to a floater if I want. Or obviously you can go to a midi pull-up as well, or you can stay back at the 3 and you can just pull it there. But it is something that you do have in your bag, and don't sleep on it just because you didn't invest into layup. You know, that's something I used to do, that we used to do on my team. We'd be like, oh, I don't have layup. Like I can't go for a layup. It's a basketball game. You don't have a layup package per se, but don't sleep on the default small. And just in general, again, it's a basketball game. Like, you're going to be able to do a layup. Obviously, you're not going for some crazy LeBron cheese layup package where it's like smothered, but you're getting this crazy animation or yank from the free throw line. But if you're open, or, you know, you have, you know, you see a floater available, just go ahead and try it. Just try it. Don't let it limit you to your bag or to what you're trying. Is it your go-to? No, I do a floater maybe once every like 6 or 7 games on this build, but I do still have it there if I want it. So just to say that, show you guys a couple clips of the default small layup package because that's all I'm using on this and all I can get anyways. But now we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the 94 driving dunk because that is the flashy, sexy thing that everybody wants to see. So 94 driving dunk. Now I'm going to again go through animations with you guys and show you specifically what packages I am using. Honestly, I can't really talk to you about each specific package until we really get into that and I tell you why I use them, but here's what I will say. I watch a lot of other people who are much better than me at this game, Laker fan being one of them, who utilizes dunk an insane amount. He's like the guy who's dunking, right? Or Joe Knows, who also is utilizing dunk in a crazy amount in a crazy efficient way. I run the packages mostly that guys like that recommend. Now, I personally don't like any windmills or any packages like back scratchers or anything that pull way back. I know they're flashy, I know they're sexy, but they're just not safe. In the same way that I am with threes, even if I've got a high 3-ball 86 or 92, I would prefer to shoot from the corner or with my feet closer to the line just because I just play a bit more safe, and it's not always that flashy, I know, but I'm still getting good meters and I'm showing you guys here, like we're still getting sexy stuff, right? But I don't like to run packages that can get blocked, especially when you're getting a meter, and meters can get blocked and it doesn't happen often, and it's more by accident than like actually being blocked, but it is a thing. And just some animations like that, whether it's a windmill, a back scratcher, or just an animation or package that's really cocking back with it, I just don't want to risk it. I would rather go up and be more efficient than not. Now that's to each their own. Every once in a while I'll throw a 360 package on there just to cheese or do some, funny shit and have some fun, but I tend to go with a more safer route with my animations. The dunk package I have that's probably the least safe, so to speak, would be the LeBron one, which that's a great package still, but every once in a while you will get the animation where he cocks it pretty far back. I think I've been blocked maybe on one, and again, it's more of an accident than an actual block. It's kind of just, it shouldn't happen. But that's the only one I have that isn't safe, so to speak. So 94 driving dunk. Obviously, you're getting the gold posterizer. Hall of Fame Slithery, which I didn't realize, but is a great badge. And after playing with some of these new guys that I've been playing with who are much better than the game than I am, and who just really know their shit about the game, Slithery is a really good badge, and after they've encouraged me a bit, or I just hear them talking about it so much, I'm actually very happy to see it, and I do notice it popping up, obviously on this build specifically, with the 94 dunk. Precision Dunker, great badge as well. Gold, 9482 in terms of dunk. We don't even really have to talk about it. If you guys are watching this, you've probably already seen plenty of other people that have this, so there's really not much to say, but these are the badges you get. Gold Aerial Wizard to have a little bit of fun here and there. I never use Bunny. I've never used Bunny, at least I don't think. No, I haven't. I was thinking it was set Hall of Fame because we're in here, and I was thinking it was Hall of Fame on my build, but it's not. I can get it to Hall of Fame, but I personally don't play that way. I've never done that, but you get it Hall of Fame, so that's cool. Silver Whistle. Whistle's a great badge. Spin Cycle, also something I don't ever really use. And Two-Step, also something I personally don't really ever use, but all great badges nonetheless. Now, the good thing, like I said, about driving dunk is that it's very, very flashy. Now, I have layup builds as well, and you can effectively finish at the rim with layup almost just as effectively and efficiently as you can with dunk if you get the right package, or you just know how to break off your defender and get, to the rim and whatnot, when to trigger the animation, especially like for LeBron and whatnot. But like I said, dunks are so flashy. They're so loud, so to speak, right? So right off the rip, if I get the ball in a game, and I'm showing you guys some clips where like literally I'll have 0 points, right? Peep the top right of the screen. I probably got 0 points in some of these right off the rip, right after tip off, and I get a meter. And as soon as I get that meter, a lot of these clips you're seeing are actually back to back. But as soon as you get a meter, people, like I said, just tend to respect it. It's just very loud. It's very like people talk about it. Whereas a layup isn't as loud. It's just as effective and efficient, and eventually they're going to respect it. But I'll have games where legit, I'll be at 0 points, I'll get 1 meter dunk, and it's just loud enough to where on the next possession, they back off you as soon as I'm catching the ball in the corner. So you can game it, and you can game your defender and kind of see what and in the same way on defense, you can do the same thing, right? When I load up and I got someone who has 94 or 96 or whatever it is driving dunk on me, and we're in the corner, I know they're looking for that baseline, at least for me. I mean, they can only go one or two ways. If they're not a confident shooter, which you can usually tell right off the rip, or if they just favor, the dunk, then I just cut off that baseline. You just game it. You got to game your defender, your opponent, whatever it is. So for me, I go in and I get that meter. As soon as I catch the ball in the next possession, they step off of me, I pull it. And now immediately you're like, it's hard to guard you. And that's the hardest thing for me. When you get someone who's effective, like a floor spacing slasher, someone who can effectively finish at the rim and can effectively shoot, that's the worst thing, just because you never know what they're going to do. And if they're really good at it, it's really hard to stop. And that's when you hope, you know, you have a lock or a better defender than you on the team to pick it up. But that is something that's very, very hard to guard. Even like for me personally, that's the hardest thing for me to guard. When you get someone who's good at both and you just don't know what they're going to do, it's like, what do? You know? So dunk is super, super loud and it's super flashy. So I really enjoy it because, like you guys know, I'm not a high volume 3 shooter. And yes, I only have the 78 3 ball here, and we'll talk about that and I'll show you clips when we get there. But 78 is more than enough. Again, we'll talk about it when we get there, but I just get open more now because people are respecting or scared. So like, and they're protecting the rim so much that I'm actually getting open more, because now my dex is more effective. Because if I take a step in, or a 2-step, I guess is what some people call it, but when I'm dexing in and then hitting back to the corner, they're overcompensating so much and running towards that rim, I'm wide open. So I'm actually shooting more threes because I have such high dunk, or because I'm so effective and efficient at the rim. You could do that with layup or with dunk, and you don't need 94 dunk to be that efficient or effective. Floor spacing slashers typically have the 87-75 combo in terms of the dunk and the vertical. So you don't have to make this build in order to do that, and then you can make it a little more well-rounded or invest in some other things that you want. But that's where I stand on that. Standing dunk is at 40. Now 40 standing dunk is all you need, and we've got the 94 driving, so like we're good. I'm really not ending up in a standing dunk position very often, just because I'm either ISOing and getting to the rim myself, or even when you are getting there, you're getting the package. Like, you're good. You still have standing dunk, and your driving dunk and everything is still so high that like you're good. So 40 standing is going to get you the 1 standing dunk animation, and that's really all you need. You can go to 45. So if you alter the build in any way, which we always recommend, this is just a template, but if you alter the build in any other way, 45 standing dunk will get you the second package. And then other than that, I go to 73, because 73 gets you everything bronze. And I have another build that I'll be doing a video on, but it has a 73 standing dunk, and I love it. And I'm actually very, very effective at the rim just off of back doors, because that standing dunk is so good. So if you want that, it's totally an option. Adjust the build however you want, but 40 standing dunk is all we're going to, because 1, when you have this high of a driving dunk, you can actually trigger standing dunk still if you like time it right and know how to do it. But 2, the 40 standing dunk is actually all you need. Even on some of my builds, I'll only have the 36 driving and the 45 standing, because that's all you need. I just want those packages for when I do go to use it, but it's really not my go-to. So you can totally get away with the 40, no problem. 88 mid-range, like I told you guys, I run the T-Mac base, so I like 88 in the mid-range. Also, I just am a big midi hunter. I love shooting in the mid-range, and you guys know that if you've been here as well or seen any of the other videos. If you're new here, now you know, but I love hunting in the mid-range. Honestly, if I could get the 92 midi on this, I would love it, but with just everything how it's set up, I don't have it, and that's okay, because I'm still effective, and I'm sure I'm showing you some clips like we always do. But 88 mid-range specifically is where I'm going, like I said, for the T-Mac jumper. Now, if you're not going to go to 88, then I'd recommend maybe like 86. Just for me, my thresholds in terms of shooting, I'm either going to go 86, 78 in terms of midi and 3-ball, or you can go 76. You don't have to go 78, but there is a percentage boost from 76 to 78. So we like to use our base as 78 as long as we can get it. So my typical like thresholds that I run are 86, 78 or 88, 78. I would even run a 92, 78, but typically if I'm up in the 92, then it's more of a shooting build. So I'm actually going to go 92, 86. And at the 86 3-ball, that's when you get the bronze limitless range and the silver agent 3 and those things. So you can drop down to 86 if you want. You could even drop down to 84 if you want, but at 86, you get the gold open looks. And that's a badge we talk about a lot over here. Gold open looks, or just open looks in general, is a badge that works across the board, right? So like Midi Magician obviously works more for the mid-range, but like Green Machine and Open Looks are 2 great badges that work all the time. Green Machine can even activate if you're getting the floaters or meter dunks, because if you're activating that green, right? So like Green Machine and Open Looks are ones that work across the board. So they're just really good badges just in general, because if I'm taking an open midi, Open Looks will apply. If I'm taking an open 3, Open Looks will pop up. So it's just a good badge to have, and it helps you across the board rather than just one specific thing like catch and shoot or guard up or midi magician. You know, these ones work in every other scenario as well. Really good badges. So I like at least going 86 to get that gold open looks. Open looks thresholds for me are typically gold or Hall of Fame. That's where I like to have it. So I go 88 just again for the T-Mac base, and we'll talk about the jumper and I'll show it to you guys. And also we have a jump shots video if you haven't seen it, that there's anything from 6'6" to like 7'3" there's jumpers, but my jumper's also in there, but I'm gonna show it to you here again. And we'll talk about it at the end of the video when we go over all the SIGs and everything else. 78 3 ball, is it enough? By now you should already know that it is, and to each their own. If I had to go up to an 86 3 ball for a long time before I again felt confident in a 78 3 ball. I also, maybe not needed to, but adding that driving dunk at 94, like I said, it makes me a lot more confident when I'm shooting because I'm getting more open because they're respecting the rim so much. So that's how I game it with like my play style and how I play. So the 78, again, you can go 76, but there is a percentage boost that's well worth it to go from 76 to 78. You don't get any badges or anything like that, but there is a percentage boost and there have been tests on it. I believe it was 2K Labs that did the test on it, which they are great. You should check them out if you have no idea who they are, or if you haven't already. They're awesome. I get all my information in some capacity from them when I'm making builds. When I'm making a build, even for myself, like to know what animations I unlock at what thresholds and all that, I'm checking 2K Labs. So check out 2K Labs. They're pretty rad. And I believe they're the ones who did that test on the 76 to 78 3 ball and whatnot, but it's well worth it. So if you can get it, totally get it. But if you can't, it's okay. You can also be effective at the 76. But is it enough? I'm sure you're seeing clips here. Yes, it absolutely is, or I guess I should say it can be. For me, it is. And like I said, I had to go to the 86 3 ball just to get confident in my jumper and my 3 ball just in general. And now that I'm more confident in it, I've come back down to a 76, 78 because one, I'm more confident, but two, I remade, I made a new build and it's this one and I've got the dunk. So it's really hard to have defense and the high dunk and the high shooting. So you got to sacrifice one. I love having defense on my builds, so I sacrifice more shooting rather than the defense. So 78 3 ball, we're gonna get that bronze agent 3 at 76, which is great. So 76 is kind of where I would recommend to be your minimum. If you want to shoot threes at all, whether it's spot up, corner, like whatever, 76 is where you should be. So go there and you're getting some really good badges when you do, but we're gonna go to 78, just like I said, and you've seen some clips now with and without take. Notice some of these clips are without take and I'm actually pulling from deep. I'm actually surprised in some of these clips, and when I was looking back at them, I was like, dang, I was actually kind of deep with no take when I shot that. But again, I've just gotten more comfortable in my jumper since I went up to an 86 3 ball. And now that I'm more comfortable and just confident, I'm shooting confidently and comfortably, and it's working. So 78 3 ball, more than enough. You guys have seen some clips here. Let's go. 71 free throw for me. Now, I used to invest into super high free throws. If I were in more of a comp setting, which I'm not, and I'm very open about that, I typically run Pro AM 3s where you don't need free throw at all, or I'll be in Rec 5s. And at that point, not that I don't. One, I'm very consistent with a 71 free throw. If it was a comp setting, I'd be up probably to 95 or 99, just because it's a comp setting. But I'm confident enough in 71, and it's a rec, right? I'm more there to have fun. Free throw is super, super cheap, but in order to get this build exactly where I wanted it and how I wanted it, 71 was where I could go. So I'm comfortable with 71. I run the Michael Jordan free throw, and I actually just looked at like the stats because I've never done that. Like you can check your stats for the season and everything. I'm shooting over 60% from free throw right now, and that's like with like 70 or so games. So not bad, I don't think. So 71 free throw, that's where I'm at. If you go up to 80, you're gonna get silver free points. If you go up to 90, you're gonna get gold free points. And if you go up to 99, you'll get the Hall of Fame free points. If you have a lower free throw, Carmelo Anthony is a really good one that helps you green. I've even, like before I've upgraded my free throw and had like 50 or 60, like I've run Carmelo Anthony and I actually still green some with that free throw. I don't know what it is. It's just a bit cheesy. So there's a little, hack or whatever if you didn't know that. But when I'm at 71, I go ahead and I put on Michael Jordan. That's just the one I've always used and I like it and I'm consistent with it. So that's what I run. Pass Act 77. Is 77 Pass Act enough? Yes, it is. Now, is having higher Pass Act worth it or great? Yes, it is. But I wanted to be more effective, I guess, on offense and defense and have a bit more fun on my build. So 77 is more than enough. Again, showing you guys clips, full court passes, some nice little dots, all types of stuff. I'm running the Sabonis package with this. You could run no package, or no pass style, and it's also pretty good. But I personally would recommend the Sabonis. It's much better in my personal opinion and experience, but that's just me. 77 pass ac, more than enough. You're getting the silver dimer, you're getting the bronze needle threader, and it's good and it's enough. Now you can totally go higher and you can adjust the build however you want. That's totally fine. But I used to always run 86, 87 pass ac so I could get the bronze bailout, which is amazing and I do love. And when I run my 6'9 shooting guard that has the 87 pass ac, I love it. It's a great time. But on a 6'6, it's just not as friendly with the points, and I want to be effective with the driving dunk and whatnot, and I want that 94, so you got to sacrifice in some places. So 77 pass ac is what I've been running on pretty much all my new recent builds, and it's been more than enough. And in my first videos, if you've seen them, I would never say that. I would say 87 is the minimum you need to go as a point guard. Like, that's it, no talking about it. I changed my mind, I ran 77, I tried it out, I have zero issues. My teammates, for one, are not complaining to me about my passes at all, and that's probably the most important thing, right? So outside of my own opinion, my teammates are not suffering, they do not complain, and they do not tell me you need higher pass ac. In a comp setting, again, I'd probably go a little bit higher. If you're the main, like if you're the point, right? If you're the main ball handler, go higher, be a more like offensive heavy point, so to speak, you know, get that higher pass ac for better dots so you guys can, one, get, you know, higher dimer, gold or Hall of Fame dimer, you know, to help them out, and also just get like a better pass and a better catch animation. But still, like I said, at 77, and for me, I'm not in a comp setting, I enjoy the 77. Ball handle 85. Now we're gonna go over all the SIGs I get, but here's the one thing I'll say. If you can get your ball handle to 86, if you alter this build in any way, if you can get your ball handle to 86, you'll get the Kemba Walker escape moves, and those are great. I used to not be a fan of them, honestly, but I guess, you know, I started getting a little bit better and figuring out how to like combo things and whatnot, and Kemba definitely works a lot better. However, if you're running the 85, you still get Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy Butler is also great. That's obviously what I'm running right now, and I will show you guys my SIGs at the end of the video and we'll talk about it. But I will say this, if you can get that ball handle to 86 because you alter something on this, 86 is nice because you get the Kemba Walker escape moves. 75 speed with ball, that's pretty much always our minimum because you're gonna get the silver blow-by speed booster and all of that. Now on a 6'6", silver to gold speed booster, is it worth it? Whatever. Look, I've got 94 driving dunk. We've already seen clips of the driving dunk, and I'm sure I showed you getting some blow-bys or getting around people. I'm having no issues with the silver. Now, gold is nice, totally, but it's expensive. So it's just hard to make a build like this. Typically, if you make a build like this and you really invest in the ball handle and the speed with ball and the accel so you can get the gold blow by and gold speed booster and things like that, ball handle and all that, you typically end up not getting much defense. And as you see, we have some really good defense here. We've got silver chase down artists on this build, which is great, by the way, and we'll go over it when we get there, but it's totally up to you. But for me, I'm totally fine at the silver and I don't have any issues. You know, we've got that game that we just showed. We've got the 41-point game and it's 20 for 24 at the rim. Like, I personally am having no issues. Again, in the setting that I'm playing in the rec, whatever, but I'm having no issues and I'm enjoying it. And on a 6'6", I haven't felt a huge difference of the speed booster at silver to gold. Not saying that there isn't a difference and not saying that it isn't worth it, but for me, I can totally survive totally enough with no issues at the silver. So I always make my minimum 75. But again, if you alter the build, don't put defense on it, put the dunk lower, don't put dunk, whatever it is, you can invest into that, put it higher, do whatever you want. Interior defense, that's just there by default. So we're gonna move down to the perimeter. Now, a lot of the clips that you're seeing in here, I don't even have the 76 perimeter defense. Now, I strongly believed in at minimum an 85 perimeter and an 85 steal. Now I still will not budge on the 85 steal. At minimum, if you're going to invest into steal and want it to be worth it, 85 I think is where you should go, and if you don't go there, I think you should go to 91. That's just for me personally. 91 gets you everything gold. Maybe you want the interceptor gold, which is also very good. You can go a little bit higher. You don't have to go all the way to 91. You can just go to 89, but that's just me. Back to the perimeter though. I have no issues with this. Now, this is what I'll say. Having perimeter defense makes all of it much easier. It more puts you into the animations or drags you into the animations to where it's almost, it feels like you could come off the sticks and it's still going to keep you in that animation locked onto your defender. Whereas when you don't have perimeter invested at all, because perimeter is the last thing I invested into on this build and on most of my recent builds. So not having that perimeter, it takes more work. I'm not having any issues because I still have the steal, and steal, like you guys just saw on the shooting guard video that we just did, or it was a point guard, but it was the playmaking sharp video that we did, Chef's build. He only had the high steal and he didn't really have any perimeter. But if you can utilize that steal to at least apply pressure, you don't even have to get a steal. You just have to apply pressure. You have to get some pokes, you know, here and there. You just gotta be a nuisance, right? So if you can utilize that steal and you do it well, you can go lower on that perimeter. Now, again, having no perimeter, I can survive without it, but I just can't force myself to make a build without it. I at least have to go 76. And the main thing here, the silver off-ball pest. Now you get that at 68. So if that's all you wanted to invest into, I will be honest, off-ball pest is a great badge, and even having it bronze, you're going to see a huge difference, but having a silver, you're going to see even bigger of a difference. So that's a great badge. So at the very least, if you're going to go very low on the perimeter, I'd recommend at least getting that off-ball pest up to silver, but that's just me. But I went ahead and went with the 76, and that gets me everything bronze. So I've got everything bronze, and is it worth it at bronze? Yes, it is. And if you guys pay attention in these clips and look up in the top right, you'll see what badges sometimes are activating and whatnot. But 94 feet activates for me all the time. Fast feet activates for me all the time. Pick dodger activates for me all the time. Now pick dodger is like, yes, pick dodger activates, but you're still getting pretty messed up on the picks. But the 94 feet and the fast feet are activating and like really dragging me in and doing their jobs, like really working. And off-ball pest obviously is working great. Workhorse is workhorse, that's cool. Challenger, also a great badge. I like Challenger a lot. I don't know how much I think there's a difference in terms of bronze to Hall of Fame. Like, I really don't know. I haven't had Challenger in a long time. And on this build, I just recently finally maxed the perimeter. Now Challenger does pop up and I like having it, but I just don't know how much of a difference there is on each level of it. Now, maybe 2K Labs will put out a test, or someone will put out a test for some information on that. But I think for me personally, I feel like if you have it, you have it. Because I have some builds with gold Challenger and some with silver. I just feel like if you have it, you have it. That thing's popping up if you have the badge, it's popping up every single time you're contesting something. Like, so that's just my opinion on that. But 76 perimeter, totally working. And I got specific defensive clips that I'm sure I'm showing you or already showed you while I was just talking and while we're talking about it now. So 76 perimeter is where I'm at. And is it enough? For me personally, yes, it is. Now, I'm kind of all right on the sticks and at defending and whatnot. So there's that. So you've got to know yourself and your thresholds and what you're capable of. But if you're a decent player, you know, or you're confident enough or whatever it is, 76 perimeter, I think is more than enough. And a lot of people even go just with 71, but I like the 76. Might as well just get everything bronze and leave it at that. 85 steal. Is it enough? I think so, yes. Like you guys saw in that game we talked about, I had 5 steals in that game. Now I'm playing a lot more aggressive, which is good because Chef gets tons of steals even with only bronze steal badges or even no steal badges. Like I said, he's just good at angles and timing. Like he's just really good at that and he's still much better than me. However, you do have to be aggressive with getting steals. Honestly, for me right now, that kind of just means spamming, if I'm going to be honest. Now, I try to time it on when I think someone's going to pass out of something, whether they're getting forced into an animation to pick the ball up or, you know, they're going up, but it's really not there. They're going to bail out. Who are they going to pass to? I don't know. But at a point, I think they're going to pass because they're being forced to. I try to hit X or, you know, use the right stick to get an interceptor if they do end up passing it my way. And that does work at times. Timing is huge, but you do have to be more aggressive. And then for right now, I think I'm being very, very aggressive. And I'm going to dial it back down and find a middle ground, but you've got to get like that frame of reference, or at least I do for myself. So 85 steal, is it enough? Yes, absolutely, it is. I get steals and poke balls all the time. And again, you don't have to get the steal when you have steal. You got to be a nuisance. You got to harass. If the guy's coming up the court and you're just ruining the flow, like let's say the point guard's bringing it up the court, you meet him at half court and, you know, someone's lacking on the guy in the corner. So there's an open back door or an open corner three. Even if you just get a poke and you don't get the steal, you're disrupting the flow of the game and the timing and everything. So you've at the very least made it to where like whoever else on your team can get to where they need to be so that we can continue now in defense, even if you don't get that steal. So having steal just in general is great, and you don't always have to get that steal, but harassing the ball handler and whatnot is the goal that we're going for here. So 85, is it enough? Yes, I absolutely think so. And in my experience, yes, showing you guys clips now, have been showing you guys some clips, totally enough. I have no issues with it, and I'm actually just getting better at timing and whatnot in general. So it's 85 steal is becoming even better for me than I thought it was, just because I personally am starting to get better at timing and things like that. 78 block, specifically going to 78 to get the silver chase down. Now you could totally just go to the 68, I believe it is, and get the bronze, but our vert is already up. And I love like just getting chase down blocks in general. So I went ahead and went to the 78. So if you don't want to invest in a 78 block on this build, you totally do not have to. However, I like defending the ball as well, and I can still do so effectively here. And if you do get that guy like a floor spacing slasher, someone who's effective at the rim, typically having block is going to help you with that a lot, especially if they do get that blow by on you or whatever it is. Having block, you're going to be able to make up for it by turning around and getting a chase down or going for a block. That's something that I see that like a lot of point guards don't have. One, they haven't invested into blocks, so they're not getting good contests on the perimeter, whether they have chase down badge at all or not. And we've talked about that in previous videos. One of our videos is specifically on it, but you get better contests on the perimeter just by having block in general. So this build would have block in some capacity regardless. But what I see, and with me having the 94 driving dunk, if I do get the ISO on a point guard or, you know, my matchup, they typically don't have blocks. So if I get that blow by them and no one's helping them in the paint or I'm wide open, once I'm past them, I'm good to go because they don't have block. Like usually point guards don't invest into block, at least not enough. So I've got the 78 just because one, I enjoy it anyways, but when I do get that matchup of a floor spacing slasher or someone who's just inside out scorer or whatever, anyone who's effective at the rim, I can obviously, you know, I've got the perimeter and the steal enough that helps me, at least for me. And then that 78 block, if they do get around me, I can crash and I can help. I'm showing you guys a clip now, but I even drop in and I can comfortably take on a center as well. So if they're running the pick and roll, then and I get stuck on it because I'm stuck on the screen or whatever it is, I confidently can go up against even a center. Am I going to get that block? No, but I'm going to, I mean, sometimes yes, but at the very least, I'm going to get a good enough animation to get them to miss. And at that point, my big man or whoever else has come down to help or recover, and we either get the rebound or we just swap out because now like we've got the reset. So I really enjoy having block. It's totally up to you. Even if you only went to bronze, what I just said would apply, but I like having that 78 because I enjoy getting chased down blocks. They're fun, and it's just one of the funnest things in the game for me in terms of defense. So I invested to the 78, but you totally don't have to. No rebound on this build. However, if you do get the right timing, you do just have such a high vertical that sometimes like I am grabbing rebounds, and I'm pretty sure at the very least I have one specific clip that I grabbed a board and there was like 2 or 3 guys from the other team down in the paint and I still got the board. Now that's just timing, and is that a repeatable thing that's going to happen all the time? No, that's not what I'm saying, but if you're in the right place at the right time, you can totally grab a board. And again, we're the point guard anyway, so we're not trying to really invest into rebound per se. But again, like we said with the layups, don't let that stop you from trying to help. At the very least, I'm gonna get down there and I'm gonna get a box out. And yes, you can still get box outs too. Yes, you have no strength, you don't have a box out badge, it doesn't matter. Positioning is everything. Those badges are just gonna help you keep that locked in, not get thrown out for sure. But if you get there and you got the right timing and your body's in the right place, you're gonna be able to get these things, a rebound, a box out, whatever it is. So just because you don't have it, don't let it make you not help, but don't just take off on the break every single time. If you're the guy who's down there, just get down there and do your thing, you know, try. 85 speed. Now, typically my minimum on speed is 86, and that's just because speed, like I've said in a lot of other videos before, but speed is so goated in this game, just across the board. Whether you're a center, you're gonna get up and down the court faster to get a rebound or to get a chase down or whatever it is, right? As a point guard, you're gonna get way better on the fast break. And as a defender, which everybody is a defender at some point in the game, right? It helps you with defending the perimeter. High speed helps you cover more ground like left to right on the perimeter, right? So speed is very, very goated. And on all of my builds, I don't usually go under 86, but I had to go under 86 only by 1 tick to 85. That way I could make this build how we see it now, right? And to be honest, I was worried about it because I'm just really in my head about things like that. Like if I had a 76 3 ball, not a 78, I would be in my head about it for sure, just because that's how I am. So having the 85 speed and not the 86 speed, there's not a difference. As you see in the clips, I'm fast, and even in the game, I feel fast. But initially I was in my head about it, and when I loaded up, I was like, I don't know, I feel slow. I gotta remake this thing with higher speed, and I have really wanted like a 90 plus speed build, so I'm really trying to lab one of those up just for us to mess around with. But either way, 85 speed, totally enough. And again, we're getting the silver speed booster, silver hyperdrive, and things like that. So 85 speed, I typically like to go 86, but that's totally up to you. Speed helps you across the board, so invest into it. At the very least, my 6'9 has an 81 speed, but even that is maxed out for the speed that build can get. So 81's the lowest I've been. I do still feel very fast on my 6'9, but on a point, especially running the breaks with this dunk and things like that, I'm gonna try and go as high as I can, and 85 is where we're at. 73 acceleration. Now we always go 73 acceleration because we're gonna get the blow by and things like that, but also like there's tests on that as well, to where there's from the tests and from what other people say and from what I've heard, from 73 and higher, there's really no difference in terms of your acceleration. Now, you do get blow by and that badge activating and speed booster and those things activating. There's a difference in those, but in terms of the acceleration, like just across the board, like with the ball or whatever it is, from 73 on, there's really no difference At least that's what the tests say, I believe. So 73 is the minimum when we go. And again, you're seeing clips, you saw clips of me getting dunks, which means I'm getting around my defender, blowing by, getting speed booster, whatever it is, and I'm having no issues. I strongly believe on a 6.6 in the silver speed booster and silver blow by. I even floor set my blow by because I do believe in the blow by badge a lot, and I've had it on gold even. I believe in that badge. Is it as good at silver? No, but I floor set it when I come in because it's kind of a hard badge to level, at least in my experience. So I floor set it typically, and it pops up for me pretty often, especially with the dunking. What I've noticed is if I've got a guy on my hip and I'm activating my dunk meter, you know, or going for the dunk at that point, that's usually when I get blow by to pop up. So if he's kind of on your hip and maybe he's about to stop you or get the clamps or whatever it is, going for that dunk, at least in my experience from what I've noticed, you know, activating my meter or whatever it is, gives me the blow by animation and that badge pops up and it gets me, you know, finally past them. So I haven't like tested that. I don't really know when specifically that badge activates or how to activate it, but I've noticed that when I've got someone on my hip and I do activate my dunk meter, that is when blow by is popping up for me. So watch a video on blow by specifically. Don't take my word for it. See what it takes to really activate it and what it does and whatnot. But I do like the badge, and when it pops up, it's always great. So I believe in blow by. And either way, acceleration in general on a 6.6 at 73 with the silver badges is more than enough. At least in my experience and at least in what you're seeing here. 49 strength, that is just there by default because we are at the 94 driving dunk, but we get the bronze clamps as well with that, but we can't go any higher anyways. We wouldn't get more clamps unless we had higher strength and higher perimeter, which we can't get anyways. So 49 strength just there by default, but works out for us because it helps us get, you know, the other things that we need. 82 vertical, again, with the animations that you get with 94 dunk and 82 vertical, that is the meta. If you have 94 driving dunk, you should have an 82 vertical just because of the extra little dunk animations and packages that you get. So 94, 82, that's the meta. That's what you want. When we're going through animations in the dunk, you know, animations and things like that, we'll be able to see, you know, what specifically it takes to get those things. And I'm sure we'll see that 82 vert being mentioned in there, but the 82 vertical is where you want to be. Now, like I said, we've already got our vertical so high because of the dunk. So that made me invest into the block because one, block is just super cheap on these guards. And two, I enjoy block. But since my vert was already up, I didn't have to put my block up and then put my vert up and, you know, adjust attribute points or anything. My vert was already there. So I figured, what can I invest into that's going to get me the most, like where we're at right now? And for me, that was block. And like I said, I just enjoy it. So 82 vert, that's where you want to be. It's going to help you it's going to get you all those dunk packages and animations that you want if you're running that 94 driving dunk. Finally, we have 99 stamina. And like you guys know, we don't skip out on stamina. There's really not much to talk about. You want stamina as high as you can get it on any build that you have. So max out your stamina, no conversation to be had. We're going 99 stamina, and that is the build. Now we're going to get into animations and all these other things. Like I said, SIGs, jump shot, and all the dunk packages that I personally run. We'll go through all of that, but this is the build. We get shades of Kenny Smith, Alonzo Ball, De'Aaron Fox. It's a 3-level threat. Again, I just can only make 3-level threats or 2-way 3-level threats, or inside the arc scorers or maestros or whatever. Like I try to get unique build names like some of these other guys, and I just can't do it. I tried today for a good little bit, and I was still just getting 3-level threats. But hey, 3-level threat is a great build. That's not to say that it isn't, but every once in a while I kind of just want to get a unique name. So I'm gonna try and get one so we can make a video on it. I'm not going to compromise a build just for the sake of the name. I'm gonna make us something good, you know, and hopefully I can get a cool name out of it, and we'll talk about that when we get there, I guess. But this is typically where we end the video, and I say thank you, but now we're going to hop into, again, the jump shot, all the dunk packages that I run, and all the SIGs that I personally run. So if you're still here, thank you. Drop a comment, let me know you're still here, and we'll get right into it. Okay, so right off the rip, these are the SIGs. You are seeing them. The only thing you're not seeing is my triple threat, but I always run Joel Embiid because apparently that helps you get better catches. His triple threat is higher, so supposedly it helps you more on catch and shoots, because like Kobe, which I used to use, or other ones, they usually are lower, so when they catch the ball, they tend to dip initially when they catch it. So Joel Embiid has a higher triple threat where he kind of stands straight up, so when you catch it, you're not getting an animation that's pulling you down before you start going for your shot. So that's why I run that. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's what I've run ever since I heard it, and I have no issues. Michael Jordan free throw, like I told you guys, default small layup style, dunking style, we'll go over it, but it's called the Dunkin'. I run the Kobe Bryant dribble pull-up. Now, I don't run dribble pull-ups for the sake of the pull-up, so to speak. I like the fade that you get out of it. Now, Kobe's fade for me is the best one. I've run under 6'6" builds. I've run other fades even on 6'6" builds, or dribble pull-ups, I should say. For me, they're horrible. I can't make them work. The timing is so weird, and the Kobe is just so goated, and I prefer 6'6" guards anyways because you're getting much less contests, especially for me who likes to hunt in the mid-range. So 6'6" with the Kobe is really, really good. But for me, again, I just go for the fade animation out of it, and Kobe is the only one that actually really fades. Trae Young has one that if you get enough speed boost into it, it actually fades, and D-Books is actually the second best, I think, and I've run it a little bit recently since it came out, but still Kobe is much better, at least for me. D-Books is nice because you have a super high release point, I feel like, but either way. Spin jumper I don't really run, but I just have KD on. To be honest, I just have that on for no real specific reason, but that's what it is. Hop jumper, Devin Booker. I do like that. You get this nice little walk back to the 3-point line with that, and it's pretty nice, so that's cool. Post fade, Devin Booker. I'm trying it out. I haven't really used it too much because, again, I don't have post control on this build. However, I do have a clip of doing a post fade on this build. And again, that's just one of those things where it's yeah, you don't have it invested into, but if that's the spot you're in, get in your bag. If you're doing a post fade or a post hop shot, which I typically do, ultimately, if you're doing it right, or if you stun the defender or whatever, you're taking an open shot, and that's all it is. So I don't have post control invested into it all, but if I end up in the post for a spot or the shot clock's low, I'm gonna post up and I'm gonna go for that post hop shot or whatever it is, because again, it's still just a basketball game. If you're doing it right, or if you end up open, you're just taking an open shot. You just got to know your timing. Motion style Eubanks. Now, a few people run Caruso, and I've heard it's because Eubanks doesn't turn around quick enough or something like that. I personally hate Caruso motion style. I just feel like you feel so slow moving up and down the court. I run Eubanks, but Caruso is another good one that a lot of people do use. Pass style with the 77 pass axe, Sabonis. Now, other than that, you only have none, and none isn't horrible, but I enjoy Sabonis. Dribble style, I'm going pro, just because you can chain your dribble moves together better that way. So I've just been trying to get better at dribbling and watching, guys like Koza and guys who are crazy at dribbling, and that's what they're running, so I'm not going to argue it or ask anything like that. Signature size up, I'm running T-Mac and Penny Hardaway, DeMar DeRozan, Jimmy Butler escape moves. Like I said, some people run KD. Not too much detail to go into about all these SIGs. I just want to show them to you. For me, they work, and what I mean by they work, comboing them together for me works. Now, the only one I'm really ever triggering purposefully on a regular basis, other than my escape move, is my aggressive breakdown combo. Now, DeMar DeRozan, I'll actually show it to you guys here. You get this little dribble, right? And I know I have a clip of this and I'll show it to you guys, but if you do, let's say a Jamal Murray behind the back, and then you're holding right trigger and you flick up on the stick, then you'll get this. And what I tend to do is I'll do a Jamal Murray behind the back, I'll flick up on the stick, get this little quick little left, right, or left, right dribble, and then I'll try and hit an escape move or a speed boost out of that, depending on what hand the ball is in and if I time it correctly. I enjoy it, and I enjoy moves like this just because they're easy to chain things together, like I said. So chaining things together would mean I'm doing Jamal Murray behind the back and then immediately going into this animation that you're literally seeing right there, where he gets down and does the 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. So I'm chaining those together, and it looks like I'm doing a bunch, but really I'm not. I just am holding right trigger and flicking up on the stick, and I'm doing this. So that's the only one that other than my escape moves, that I use on a regular basis and I trigger. But obviously Jamal Murray, and the hesitation, Jason Tatum. But other than that, this is what I run. I'm not, like I said, I'm not great at dribbling, and I don't want to get into detail about it because I'm just not great at dribbling, but this is what I run. So if you guys want to try it, feel free. John Wall step back, though, you should run if you can get it. Everyone runs the John Wall step back. It's going to give you that, a lot of space when you're hitting it, and that's just flicking back on the stick, just if you're standing there. This is my jumper. Again, you guys saw this in the jump shots video, but I run T-Mac, Mikal Bridges, and Troy Brown Jr. with a 70-30 blend. Now, on my other build, it's actually 30-70, and it's in the same way. The upper release 1 and 2 are in the same exact spot, but what I do when I set up my jumpers is I set them up so that these grades that you see down here in the bottom right, oh, actually my camera's hiding it, so let me hide my camera real quick. So these grades that you see down here in the bottom right, the A, the B+, the A+, and the B, when I set up my jumpers across my builds, so this arm I believe has a 7'2" wingspan, and most of my builds have a 7-foot wingspan. So what I do is I use the same jumper across all of my builds, but I blend it so that these grades all look the same. It doesn't even have to be the same grade. For instance, on this one, I think the defensive immunity is B+, or like the timing stability is the B, but on my other one, it's like if the timing stability on this one is B, I think on my other one it's B+, but I don't care because these look the same for me across the board. So that's how I tune my jumpers across my builds. If I've got different wingspans, I just make the blend so that not necessarily for the grades to match, but for the jumper to look the same, if that makes sense. So this is what I run: T-Mac, Mikal Bridges, Troy Brown Jr. And now we will get into the dunks. So these are the animations I run. Now, again, I pick animations, one based off of like, we've got, again, like you see here, 94 driving dunk and 82 vertical is what you need for these elite contacts dunks off too, right? Other than that, other than like the meta, like crazy, you know, animations or packages that we get just because of how high the driving dunk and the vertical is, I choose dunk packages based off of how safe they are. So this is what I run. For me, it's the best, and what I judge it off of is how far away the animation is triggering. If I can get an animation to trigger further out, I would like that, just because I'm gonna probably be able to get a better dunk meter if the defender's further away from me, right? So I try to go for animations that trigger far out, and other than that, just that are safe. And what I mean by safe is no back scratchers, no big cockbacks, and no windmills or 360s. That's just me. And I still have a great time and fun and still get some really great dunks, but that's just how I choose. So now that I've told you that, we're gonna go in and I'm gonna show you specifically what I use, but that's why and how I choose what I have. Quick drops off 2. Again, I'm a Superstar 3 or it's not called Superstar, but the last 2K I ever played was 2K20 and that's what they called it. But I'm a Superstar 3, Starter 3, I think it is. So I'm Starter 3. So some of these you have to have just by being Starter 3. I feel like quick drops is one of them, but this is the package I'm running. Quick drops off 2. Quick drops are like goated packages in the game, just in general. All the guys who are legit at dunking and even running in comp setting, they talk about quick drops a lot. So I don't want to get into too much detail because this video is already crazy long, I'm sure. So I'm just going to show you guys these. And like I said, how I chose them and why I chose them is just based off of how far they're triggering out or how safe they are or just how elite they are, just because it's the packages that we're unlocking with how high the dunk and the vertical is. I run quick drops off 2 for reverses. Now reverses are very, very good. I run windmill baseline reverses. Now typically I don't like these, and to be honest, I don't get these to trigger a lot, but I don't mind these ones because typically when you're doing a reverse anyways, it's because the defender is either crashing in or he's coming from behind you. So doing the windmill on the opposite side, I don't mind it, and I haven't gotten a bad or block animation out of these personally. At least not yet. So I run the windmill baseline reverses, but if you want to be even safer than that, this is the one you want to run, the clutch baseline reverses. Those are great, and it's just a reverse package. And how you get that is if you're cutting in from a corner and you're running into the rim, right? You pull back towards the corner you came from. Does that make sense? So if you're in the right corner and you're running to the, you've got the ball, you're running to the rim, and you want to get this reverse dunk, stay on the trigger, keep your left stick moving to the left, right? And then pull your right stick back to the right, to the corner, towards the corner that you came from. So you're pulling it back to get that up and under reverse. Reverses, very good. And then obviously we're gonna run contact dunks that we can. A lot of people don't run the pro, they only run the elite. I'm currently trying out the pro. I wasn't running it at first, now I am running it. I think I'm probably just gonna leave the elite just because it's a much better animation and I like it, but you can run pro or elite. Definitely run the elite. Don't have to run the pro. Hangs, again, I'm just choosing these because they are safe. Now, it's not flashy, they're not big. Sometimes when I get these, I wish I got something more flashy because I'll even meter these little things, but ultimately they're safe and I get the bucket. So for me, that's just what I like. I don't want to be the guy out there with a dunk meter who gets, you know, crazy open or whatever it is, but I get blocked because I'm doing this crazy windmill or this crazy flashy dunk, which yes, it's sexy and like it's cool. When it happens, and sometimes just have fun, which is like I said, sometimes I throw the 360s on just for fun for a couple games, but ultimately I just don't want to be that guy for me. So I run a lot of safe ones. It's not necessarily that they're the best, but for me, they're the safest. And I would like to say that the safest is kind of the best, you know, because when I'm going for these ones specifically and whatnot, it's just, I'm open, like it's there. It's probably like a fast break. So I got the hangs, I'm doing athletic hangs off 1, a great package. Quick drops, we're gonna run these quick drops off of 1, just because again, quick drops are a like goated package just in general in the game. I believe this is limited to starter 3, so if you're not there yet, but you do have your dunk this high, that's why you're not seeing it, but when you get to that rep level, you will unlock it. I'm pretty sure this one's based off of rep, but I'm not 100% positive. Double clutches, I'm running side clutches off 1. I just like the animation. It triggers from a decent way out, and it's fast. That's why I pick a lot of packages as well. They're fast, right? So I don't want a long drawn out animation because 1, it's gonna make it a little harder for the dunk meter. I believe those windmill reverses, when I get meters on those every once in a while, like it's hard because it's kind of a slow, it takes more to finish that animation. So the timing on the dunk meter is just a little different. Now we're working with huge dunk meters if we're doing it right anyways, but I like, and you should also like and go for fast animation. So this side clutches off 1, you see how quick it is. Once you're into that animation, he's just up and at it. Other than that, again, pro contacts off of 1 as well is what we're running, and that is it. Cradle is a very, very good package as well. I just hate it because it activates so much, and we also run the Michael Jordan dunk package, which has cradles in it, so I don't want to overdo it, but that one activates a lot when you have it on, and it's fine because it's very effective and it finishes at the rim a lot, but I just didn't want it activating that much. It activated way too much for me, for my liking, and I've got the Jordan anyways, like I said, that has some in there, so I went ahead and took it off. But this is a great package, so if you don't have Jordan because you're not at the starter 3 or whatever it is, run these cradles. They are great. Standing dunks, we're just getting the 2-hander under baskets, and that's just because we have the 40 standing dunk. At 45, you're gonna get this one as well, but this one I believe might even be the quicker one, the 2-hand. But either way, 40 standing dunk, that's all we have, so that's all we invested into. Really nothing to talk about there. It's just a standing dunk. And now for the signature dunks. Now LeBron, like I said, is probably the most flashy or like blockable, so to speak, package I have. However, when this is triggering, it's usually because I'm very open, because this one starts from way out. So usually if I'm breaking someone off from the top of the key and I'm specifically trying to get a Jordan or a Bron dunk, it's because the paint's wide open and I've gotten past my defender. So that to say, him cocking it back isn't that big of a deal because it's usually a wide open attempt, you know, and usually it triggers in that scenario specifically, so it's really fine. And I've got some clips of it, I'm sure I'm showing you now, specifically of the LeBron James package. But LeBron James is a great package, and I love how far out it pulls you from. And it's LeBron James. Why wouldn't you run his dunk package? One of the best dunkers, you know, and like the funnest guys to watch ever. So LeBron James. Russell Westbrook. This one I believe has a back scratcher in it that I'm not sure about, but I put it on just because, again, it's Russell Westbrook. Why not? And that one specifically that we just saw, he's jumping from pretty far out and cocking back, and I like it. So I'm trying this one out. I'm not having any issues with any of these packages I'm running. I'm not running them for any specific reason other than obviously LeBron and Michael's packages are goated, but these other ones that I'm running, I'm just running just because I looked at them as these animations played out. I didn't mind any of the animations. I even liked them, thought they were fast, or they, you know, triggered from super far out. So that's why I'm running them. Russell Westbrook there. John Morant, another good one. I've enjoyed this. Pretty sure I got a John Morant dunk today in that game that 41 point or 43 point game that I had. But John Morant, good package. Again, one of the top dunkers, you know, in the league right now. So why not run his package? Michael Jordan, a great package. You're getting the cheesy Michael Jordan one from super far out, right? So you got that. And then CJ McCollum, just because this one doesn't take much, driving dunk 40, but we're gonna run it because I like this package and I run it on my builds that have much lower dunk and I like it. So I'm gonna run the CJ McCollum. You could also run Ginobili if you wanted, and you could run Klay Thompson. There it is. So you could run Klay Thompson as well, and Ginobili. Those are good packages, and again, those are lower rating packages, but they're good packages and like great animations. Even if you have low dunk, if you made it this far in this build for whatever reason, those are great packages at the lower rating to run. And at the very least, if you go to the 55 driving dunk, plus the vertical only at 35, and you're under 6'10", like it says here, you can get Klay Thompson, you can get CJ McCollum, and you can get Ginobili, which are all great packages. That is it, and thank you so much for staying here. If you did, I cannot imagine how long this video is going to be, but this is my everyday build that I run all of the time, and I love it. So other than that, I do have another version, I guess, of this build. I mean, it's just another 6'6" point guard, but instead of dunk, it's got layup, which is typically how I run my builds, and it has higher shooting. So I'm gonna give you guys that version as well. Probably not as in-depth video, so to speak, as this one, but I do have that in the works as well, and I'm really trying to get a rare build in the works for you guys. I just can't figure it out. Everything I make is 3 level 3 and whatnot. So if you made it this far, please a like, a comment, subscribe, whatever. If this video helped you in any way, I would greatly appreciate it. You don't have to do it. You don't have to, but I would appreciate it if you did. And it helps the channel obviously grow, and it helps me be motivated to come back and do more. So thank you guys so much for the support and everything, you know, that you guys have been saying in all of the comments and the messages I get from you guys on X, all of that. It means a lot, and I truly do appreciate it, and it makes coming back here easy. It makes it really easy. So thank you so much, and I will catch you guys in the next one.